I love thrifted community cookbooks, and I was looking through an oldie but goodie, a 1984 community cookbook straight out of Pennsylvania, and boy did I find a great recipe, Pennsylvania Dutch style chicken pot pie. I can't wait to share this recipe with you. So, are you ready to cook with me? If so, let's get started. This recipe, Pennsylvania Dutch easy pot pie dough, is made with potatoes. Potatoes are a very popular Pennsylvania Dutch ingredient, and I'm really excited to show you lots of potato recipes, but today I'm going to start with this easy pot pie potato dough. Now, it's kind of like a chicken soup, and with some typical ingredients that you would find in a pot pie, except with noodles made out of, yes, potatoes. So let's get started. I'm going to start by making my own broth, and I'm going to do a bone broth or a chicken stock, whatever you want to call it. I'm just using a rotisserie chicken, so it's a fully cooked rotisserie chicken. And you can use a raw chicken if you want. Just let that simmer a lot longer than you let this simmer. And then after I get the stock out of this, I'm going to shred apart the chicken. And that's what I'm going to use in my Pennsylvania Dutch style chicken pot pie. Because I'm using onions, celery, and carrots in my chicken pot pie, I'm going to use those same ingredients in my chicken stock. This is a very cost-effective dish, and it's also delicious. I don't even bother peeling the carrots. I leave the onion skin on. I'm going to throw it all in that stock pot. It's going to get strained anyway. Now let's get these spices added into this pot. Let me just say, you can skip this step, buy yourself some store-bought chicken broth. I've even just simply used a onion soup powder mix and put that in with some hot water. Used that as a broth before, or just a spiced up water broth. Whatever you have on hand, you can use it. You could skip this step and just boil some regular chicken or roast some chicken. And again, skip this step altogether. But now for the spices. In my humble mom cook opinion, if you only have salt and pepper on hand, that's good enough to add to this stock. It would be delicious in the end because of that chicken, the carrots, the celery, and the onion. But this is what I added to this stock on this day. I honestly measure with my heart and measure with my preferences. So I put in this stock some dried parsley. I put a bunch of kosher salt, some tarragon, some thyme. If I had fresh parsley, I would have thrown that in there too. I absolutely love ground sage in a stock. So I add a bunch of ground sage, some pepper. If you have whole peppercorns, chuck that in there. And again, measure with your heart. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love adding some citrus to my poultry stocks. If I had a fresh lemon, I would have added some lemon zest, but I didn't. However, I did have some lemon pepper seasoning. I added that to my stock along with a couple bay leaves and some garlic powder. Again, if I had fresh garlic, I would have added that into the stock as well, but I did not, so I added a little extra garlic powder. Now that I got all my spices into my stock pot, I'm just going to cover everything with lots of water just to make sure everything's completely covered. Then I'm going to give this a good stir and cover it with the lid, put it on my stove, and bring it up to a rolling boil. Once it's brought up to a rolling boil, then I just lower that heat, I bring it down to a simmer, and I let it simmer away. I think this particular night, it was simmering for well over an hour. Whenever I'm simmering a stock on my stove, everybody starts lingering around the kitchen because that delicious smell fills the whole house. I absolutely love making my own stocks. Now that my chicken stock is boiling, almost boiling, on the stove, I gotta thank Kathy with an I because this recipe is courtesy of Kathy with an I. She submitted this in 1984 to a community cookbook in Pennsylvania. So thank you, Kathy. Now that that's boiling, like I said, and I'm making that stock, I'm gonna go ahead and clean, peel, and dice at least 4 potatoes to turn into mashed potatoes, and then another 3 or 4 to dice up to put into my chicken pot pie. In the end, as you will see, I did not add the extra potatoes to my pot pie soup because I thought the Pennsylvania Dutch Easy Pot Pie dough noodles were plenty of potato for me, but Kathy with the I added extra potatoes to hers, and if you prefer to do that, you can too when you make this recipe. But like I said, I liked it with just the noodles. Okay, so I have my potatoes boiling for mashed potatoes. I have my stock boiling away, and I have my carrots peeled. I have my celery cleaned up, and I'm going to cheat and use my food processor and chop them up real small to get them ready to go in my chicken pot pie. Like I said before, this recipe is super budget friendly, and there's low waste too on the ingredients that you're buying at the store because you use those same ingredients in the base of your stock that you use in the base of your chicken pot pie soup. So what a great recipe to have on hand because not only is it hearty and healthy, but it's super budget friendly. So I used 6 large carrots, a good 6 stalks of celery as well, and 1 large onion, and I chopped that all up in the food processor. And when those potatoes were fork tender, I took them off the stove, strained them really well, and made mashed potatoes out of them. Now keep in mind, you only need 1 cup of mashed potatoes to make the Pennsylvania Dutch Easy Pot Pie dough for your noodles. So I doubled it myself. I used 2 cups of mashed potatoes, and then my boys requested extra mashed potatoes to eat, so that's why I had so many potatoes. Now, after my chicken stock was finished simmering, and it's well over an hour, I did a double strain. First, I strained out all the vegetables and the chicken, and then I used the fine mesh strainer, and look what you end up with. Rich, hearty stock. There's all my mashed potatoes ready to go. Now I'm going to get out my best tools, which are my hands, and I'm going to shred apart that beautiful and delicious chicken. And then after I'm done shredding this chicken, and you need about 5 cups of chicken for this hearty soup, at least that's what I used, I'm going to add some extra virgin olive oil to a pot. I'm going to add all those beautiful chopped up veggies, and I'm going to let them simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes or so till they get a little bit soft. Pour that beautiful and delicious and hearty chicken stock over all the vegetables. Add in all that chicken and let that simmer away while I get started on the Pennsylvania Dutch Easy Pot Pie dough. I doubled this recipe and I listed it in the description below, but for every 1 cup of mashed potatoes, you want to use 2 cups of flour and 2 eggs. And I also added some salt to my mixture as well. So like I said, I doubled it. So I used 2 cups of mashed potatoes and 4 cups of flour and 4 eggs. First, you mix the eggs and the potatoes together, and then you add the flour a little bit at a time. And then this is a really stiff dough initially, so you do have to get out your best tools yet again, which are your hands, and knead up that dough in the end to get it nice and smooth. So flour up a surface, turn that dough out from the bowl on that floured surface, knead it up a little bit, and get out your rolling pin and roll it as flat as you possibly can. And let me tell you, it takes a little elbow grease here because it is, like I said, a stiffer dough and a tougher dough, but trust me, the hard work pays off in the end with this one. Now it's time to cut up this dough into 1-inch squares, and I'm going to use a pizza cutter because that's a really convenient tool for this and it makes it go by so much faster. I love how these little easy pot pie doughs turned out, and I can't wait to add them to the soup. And I'm going to add quite a bit, by the way, because I don't think less is more when it comes to something as delicious as Pennsylvania Dutch easy pot pie dough noodles. Also, I want to mention that you should bring your soup back up to a boil before adding your noodles. Look at how beautiful this soup looks. I hope I made all of my Pennsylvania Dutch friends proud on this one, and I just can't wait to taste it. Look at that dough. Gorgeous. What a gorgeous soup. Now it's time for the best part, and that is the taste test. The potato noodle kind of puffs up to a dumpling consistency. This just looks amazing. I can't wait to try this. The texture is amazing. The flavor is out of this world. It just tastes so hearty, and this would be a perfect soup to make ahead of time. Put in the freezer and have on hand when you're feeling a little under the weather. This is just such a great recipe. I really hope you try it. Thank you so much, Kathy with the I, for submitting this recipe decades ago. And I want to say thank you to all of you for watching Are You Ready To? My name is Rachel. I hope to see you next time for my next Community Cookbook recipe.